the old diesel version mural? That's like Kim K's old face. Yeah, you got
Lifting and hold. Presser draws in fresh air. Here, an electric-powered auger compacts the medium. The compression creates heat. But unlike normal compressors, this one doesn't let the heat go to waste. The heated air flows into a heat exchanger, providing warmth to the company's heat.
Because like, it's one thing to be like, yo, I'm killing myself, whatever. Yeah. That's the potential. Yeah. But when you like slowly, passively trying to kill yourself, you drinking way too much, you're not taking care of yourself. You're just like, yo, if I die.
Upwork has the world's largest network of proven independent professionals. It's like having a go-to graphic designer right here.
And it pushes compressed air.
I like the green one.
You fucking dumb piece
Hi, I'm
of
George,
shit.
and we recently received a letter from Max from Germany asking whether he's able to fill his rockets to higher pressures. Now, all he's got is just a bicycle pump, so he's limited to only about 8 bar. And he asked whether the high-pressure pumps used for air guns are any good for water rockets. Now, we didn't have any direct experience with these, and so we thought we'd...
So basically, compressed air is to be able to put the amount of air that a 10-gallon tank would take, but to fit that same amount of air into a 2-gallon tank, that would make compressed air. Now, it's not the pump that you need to adapt, it's the tank that needs to be able to handle that amount of pressure. As long as the tank could withstand that much pressure, then it doesn't matter what you use to push in the air. It just matters, can the tank withstand that much pressure? Fucking stupid pieces of shit.
One from eBay. So this is your regular pump, and then this is what the PCP pump looks like. They look very similar, but they're actually quite different.
Okay,
this one will go to about 3,000 PSI. Now this one cost only $46, that's Aussie dollars, on eBay, including delivery. Now they range normally from about $50 to $200. Now we wanted to go for the cheaper one because at the higher end of the price range, you're getting closer to what scuba tanks cost. So let's have a look how these two compare.
No. Let's get all that back on here.
Hi, I'm George, and we recently received a letter from Max from Germany asking whether he's able to fill his rockets to higher pressures. Now, all he's got is just a bicycle pump, so he's limited to only about 8 bar. And he asked whether the
8 bar is the term used for the amount, not the pressure, but the amount. So 8 bar means like it's synonymous with a gallon or pounds, or it's just how 8 bar is how much space is in it. It could take up to 8 bar. It could take 8 gallons. It could take 8 ounces. So 8 bar is that. So how could a pump be topped out at 8 bar? A pump could fill up anything, as much space as you want. So how could it be maxed out at 8 bar? You stupid retard, mental health retard. I'm gonna come after every single one of you and sue the fuck out of you.
high pressure pumps used for air guns are any good for water rockets. Now, we didn't have any direct experience with bicycle pumps, so he's limited to only about 8 bar. And he asked whether the high pressure pumps used for air guns are any good for water rockets. Now, we didn't have any direct experience with these, and so we thought we'd buy one from eBay. So this is your regular pump, and then this is what the PCP pump looks like. They look very similar, but they're actually quite different. This one will go to about 3,000 PSI. Now this one cost only $46, that's Aussie dollars, on eBay, including delivery. Now they range normally from about $50 to $200. Now we wanted to go for the cheaper one because at the higher end of the price range, you're getting closer to what scuba tanks cost. So let's have a look how these two compare. For this experiment, we're going to pressurize this reinforced pressure chamber that's just over 2 litres in volume. One end has a Schrader valve fitted and the other end has a scuba hose connector so we can fit a pressure gauge to it. We'll start off with the regular bicycle pump. And that just connects to the valve like this. Here's the pressure gauge fitted on the end of the hose so that we can easily see it with the camera. Of course, it's always important to wear eye and ear protection when doing these experiments. Okay, so let's start pumping. The bike pump is a single stage pump, so at first it's fairly easy to pump, but as you start getting over 100 psi, it starts getting significantly more difficult. As we approach 120 psi, it really gets difficult and you have to put your whole weight behind it.
Right, that's how they say it is with that other pump too, though.
This pump took about 70 strokes to reach 120 psi. Now this translates to about 16.5 litres of air or 240 millilitres per stroke. It took just over 2 minutes to pump this amount. This pump has a bleed valve built into the handle so it's easy to let the air out again. Okay, now it's time to try the PCP pump. We used one of the adapters that came with the pump, though we had to put in a nylon washer to make it seal against the Schrader valve properly. When you're using these pumps, you want to go all the way to the ends of the stroke for maximum performance. To get to 120 psi, it took about 85 strokes, though the effort was pretty much the same as it was at the beginning. It took a total of about 170 strokes to get to 210 psi, though it was still fairly easy, but you could notice a little bit of effort was needed.
15.
But it was nowhere near the effort that you had to use for the 120 psi with the regular pump.
If you have an air,
It took about 5.5 minutes to pump in the 30 litres of air, and that translated to about 180 millilitres of air per stroke. We stopped the test at this point and let the air out. The pump has a bleed valve here at the bottom. So how does this translate to practical use in water rockets? To fill a rocket of this size to 210 psi, which has
You know I love this man, but my future's content, editing, streaming video.
Best Buy can upgrade you.
So, since I've seen many people interested about this 12-volt compressor, I decided to make a video review about all you need to know and also provide instructions on how to use this effectively without cause problems. To avoid any bad things from happening, if you do have this or plan to get it, keep watching till the instructions where I will also show how to run this with computer power supplies and such, as well as good uses and bad uses, the pressure gauge and others. You will see these in several different colors like yellow, blue, black, etc. Branded or not, they all go for about like $5 to $10 shipped from eBay or locally. Basically, you only pay the cost of shipping. Some of them are rated to 250 psi and some even up to 300 psi, but inside it's the same exact thing and handles maximum 150 psi. I got this one for €5. Inside the box, if you get any, you will find a compressor with a 10 feet or 3 meters wire that has a lighter plug which I removed, and also some feeding adapters. The build quality of the hose and the plastic casing, overall it's outstanding for its price. The shape of the casing resembles the shape of a compressor, where the cylindrical part will be a big 12-volt motor and the square the actual compression cylinder.
There's nothing that sends 3000 psi.
Dismounting these, you will find out that it's the same design with smaller components.
Something has to be filled until 3000. Nothing shoots out 3000. Nothing has something that's not shooting. Oh god, they're so fucking dumb that they even try
The
this
motor
shit.
is a regular
They're
12-volt
so
motor
fucking
with a
stupid.
plastic
It's
step-down gear for
unbelievable.
extra torque, aka cylinder pressure,
And
but
you
less
try-
cubic
and
feet
you
per
do everything you
minute
do to make me
output.
mad, but there's things, you stupid fuck, that you
The cylinder is oil-free, displacing about 4 to 5 cubic centimeters per cycle.
You're a fucking moron.
Now I will
You're a
try to
fucking
cover
moron.
proper operation, duty cycle, the pressure gauge, the how to run these on either batteries or computer power supply, and how to use it on your projects. First of all, don't really operate this thing at over 150 psi. The torque needed to move the crank not only can grind the plastic gear on the gear reduction, but also the metallic spur. The continuous